Well, why would they want us to believe that it's round?
And there we go. We're already there. That's a very good question. That's where we all default to, and we'll get into that more. But the reason they want you to believe you live on a ball is because they're hiding who we truly are. They're hiding more resources. Think about this. Every war, what is that about? Land,
Mhm.
resources, power,
Right.
Ports.
right? What if there's more land? What if they tell us there's 8 or 9 continents or whatever the number is now?
I think
What
it's
if there's
7.
what if there's 80 or 90,000 continents
Hmm.
across the plane beyond Antarctica? There's all now, and here's the thing. There's in the flat Earth community, there's people like, don't talk about more land. You can prove the Earth is flat. We can prove the Earth is flat right here from everything that we can reach and test and measure ourselves. What's beyond Antarctica is speculation, but there's lots of evidence that there's more land beyond the shoreline of Antarctica.
So you're saying that, like, okay, wait a minute. So it's like a pie, and Antarctica is the pie crust?
Well, it's not just the crust. And imagine a lake 100 miles across in the middle of Kansas. Okay. And at the center of that lake is a magnetic mountain, a mountain made from a magnet, just a magnetic mountain. So no matter where you are on that lake, your compass will point to the middle of the lake. You with me?
Mhm.
So south is every direction away from the middle. So south, if this is the middle, south is that way, and south is that way, and south is that way, because the compass will always be pointing towards the middle. East and west are circles around the middle. East and west are circles. This is the Gleason's map that used to be in all of the textbooks and encyclopedias and libraries, and they removed it.
Mhm.
Right? So if you go east and west, you can go right all the way around, maintaining your east or west direction, and then end up right back where you started from.
Mhm.
Right? If you walked around your neighborhood, does that make your neighborhood a sphere? No, you're just walking around it. If the center of your neighborhood was the North Pole, the compass would point to the north.
Right. No, it makes sense. But what compass are you talking about? Any compass will do this?
Any compass. A compass points a compass points
Points
towards a
north.
magnetic force coming out of our north. If you got a table, get like a nice strong neodymium magnet, put it on a table, draw a big circle around it, and put a compass near it. That's going to take over. It's going to be stronger than the magnetic
Right.
pole, and your compass will point to that. And try to push that compass west. You're going to have to keep turning to maintain a west heading, because if you go straight, you're going to be going away from that magnet, and the north will be
Yeah,
that way,
it's
and the
because it's
south.
on a different plane.
Yeah,
It
you're
makes
just
sense.
going to go. You're just going to go straight.
But I'd like to spend, before we get into why are they doing it, I'd like to spend more time in your research, because I find this,
Sure.
because I just to be clear, I think you're probably a little bit more open-minded than I am. I'm like you were when you started. I don't believe in flat Earth. We had Eddie Bravo on.
Yep.
I love Eddie. It was a great episode, but he's the one that gave me your number. We've been trying to book this for a long time, but I think flat Earth is absolutely crazy. So I would like, I have a bunch of questions. I know you've
I
gone on
think
a lot.
most people do.
Most
Well-
people think it's crazy. So I would like you to actually convince me as a crazy skeptic
Sure.
with some real info, because most people watching.
But I
assume,
mean, this whole thing
are
about
like me.
Antarctica is so intriguing to me because I know about Project High Jump and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff,
Yeah, so
I know it's like we're not supposed to know about Antarctica.
Admiral Byrd did Project High Jump, the high land that's containing our waters, and in the 1940s and 50s, and he said he found more land bigger than the United States on the other side of the South Pole. Well, that would be, from where he went from, that would be like near Australia or Africa. You think they would notice a continent the size of the United States? And he said there's also warmer lands there, which doesn't make any sense. And then he announced that on a national news show, and 6 months later he died suddenly in his sleep
Right.
somehow.
Yeah.
So when you say most people think the Earth is flat, this is a heat map of my app, the Flat Earth Clock app, and these are just the people. These are just the people that have my app, which is less than 1% of flat earthers.
That's scary. That's like the Megan's Law website with the. I don't like to see that many people. There's that many
Right.
people that are on your app.
This is the UK.
Wow,
Right?
that's
and so
impressive.
Wow.
they're everywhere. There's over 180,000, 185,000 now that are on the app. And that's way less than 1% of the flat earthers out there. Because once you discover this, once you take the time to see the truth, several things will happen. One, you'll never forget it. Two, you'll wonder how you ever believed in the ball. I was a diehard globalist, right? Everything globe, globe, globe. And we'll get more into why the lie, but it's about controlling you. Like if you don't know that there's more resources, if you don't know that there's more land, if you don't know that you're at the center of creation, you don't know who you are, you can easily be controlled by the government. Govern, control, meant is
Mhm.
the mind,
Mhm.
Right.
right?
So the teaching of the Earth is round. I watched a little bit on you. You're saying that's a relatively new
So in
teaching. Like
20 in
100
tw-
years ago, apparently,
well,
everybody. You said back in the days they used to teach everybody believe flat Earth, like to the 1800s, early 1900s.
yeah. So
So
I ended
Christopher Columbus, didn't he prove that it was round?
That's a
by
good question.
by sailing over the ocean and everything.
Well, by looking at an orange and seeing that's what
So
we were
That's
these
taught.
what I
are
was taught.
stories told to us by the victors, right? The
Right.
controllers. So these are just stories. I never met Christopher Columbus. I don't even know if he existed. And a lot of these characters from our past, like Eratosthenes, 2,000 years ago in Greece, he did a sticks and shadows experiment, and they pushed that through everybody. Carl Sagan pushed it in the Cosmos series, and it's in school books, and that is like one of the top proofs that kids are taught that the Earth is a globe with the sticks and shadows experiment. And they say it could only happen on a globe, but it actually, in the flat Earth model, it works perfectly. In the flat Earth model, the sun is small and close, right? We don't know what the sun is; it's just in the sky. It's small and close. So get 2 beer bottles on a desk, and then hold a light over one of them. There'll be no shadow, and the other one will have a shadow. You
Right.
can use the same math that Eratosthenes did to figure out the sphericity of your table, which is flat.
So just to explain the shadows and rods, if you have a curve of the Earth and you put up dominoes, right, and you shine
Mhm.
the sun, the ones that are on the curve would have a longer shadow.
Mhm.
So that's how they prove the Earth is round, because look over here, it's casting a longer shadow because the sun's up there, where like a sundial directly at noon, there's no shadow,
Right.
proving the Earth is round. It looks
This
like
is
this.
he and Eratosthenes assumed that all sun rays come in parallel from a distant sun, which causes multiple problems because
Mhm.
no one has ever seen parallel sun rays. Go out when the sun is out and the clouds are like broken up and look at the rays. They come out crepuscular. They spread out, right? But on a flat Earth with a small local sun, you can get the same results as on a ball. But they don't teach you that in school. They teach you that it's the only answer is a ball.
That
So
makes sense. So just in case, I'm sure you understand, but if our listeners don't, if it's a small sun closer to
small
the
sun
Earth,
and close,
then the angle of the shadow would still work on a flat Earth
right?
model. But if it is the big sun that's 9 million times bigger than us, or whatever the math is, that would not work because it would be so massive it would
Well,
only work
they
on a
say
curve.
that the sun is so big and it's so far away, 93 million
Right.
miles, that the rays come in essentially parallel. But no one has ever seen parallel rays. And back at the time of Eratosthenes, they believed in a geocentric Earth, whether flat or globe, I don't care. They believed that the sun went around the Earth. How do you have a 93 million mile away giant sun circling a tiny little Earth?
Yeah, it doesn't
Right.
make sense.
So they literally get their stories are crisscrossing. They make absolutely no sense, and people just short circuit. They're like, I just want to get an A on the test. I
Well,
just want to get that
if the
right.
sun is large and we are going around it, that math works.
And when
Are
someone
we circling the sun?
no, the sun circles us.
What?
This is why I love flat Earth theory. He's
So
so
The sun
convinced.
circles us?
yeah, so this is
So
going super
we
fast.
don't move?
Do you feel like you're moving? You might, but
No, I never do, and
yeah.
I always wonder that if we're supposed to be spinning at something like 365,000 miles
I
per
think it's
second,
It's
27,000.
how come
6.
nobody's hair is moving or
Inertia,
Right.
Newton's
Well, they
second
say
law.
because the air is velcroed to the earth by gravity.
Yeah.
And the air is spinning. And because the earth is this is the official story. Because the earth has been spinning so long, the friction of the mountains and the topographical of the, surface of the earth has made all of the air spin with us.
Mhm.
But a summer breeze can blow left and right and up and
right?
down, right? The sun goes around.
Uh-oh, it
Your
went
YouTube.
it went
Oops,
away.
And
sorry.
not to be a
Oops.
nerd, but
The sun circles us, so the whole solar system is wrong.
if you're a
What
flat
about the
earther,
other planets?
Well,
if
let's go there in a second.
we're
But
working
the
through it.
sun goes
I
around,
love this shit.
and wherever the sun is, it's noon.
Okay.
And so the sun is a small local light. Now, a lot of globe anti-flat earthers, and even some flat earthers will say the sun's 3,000 miles high and 30 miles wide. That works, but it could be 1,500 miles wide and 15 miles wide, or it could be 7,500 miles high and 7.5 miles wide. Scaling and variance, we don't know. I'm making no claims on what the sun is, where it is, other than it's a local light, which we can prove by its rays. Go out on a moonlit night when there's scattered clouds, and you'll see that the moon is only lighting the clouds that are right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
If it was 250,000 miles away, it should light up all of them. What's the question you just asked? You asked me a question. The other planets.
Yeah, because we can see stars moving in the sky, and we can track Mars and Jupiter and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
So
if there's no solar system, there's no planets.
right
rotating.
when you look at planets, um, I'm want to keep this really simple. There's a
Yeah.
thing called the inverse square law. Oh, the math, people freak out. It's very easy. When you have an object, and it's a certain size, move it farther or move it twice the distance away, and it'll be a quarter of the size.
Right.
Okay. And it's the same with the brightness. If I have something that's 4 lumens here, I double it, it's 1 lumen.
Right.
Right. It's a quarter. And it's the same as you get closer. When you go out at night and look at I like looking at Jupiter because it's the brightest star.
Right.
You've seen it.
Yeah.
It's brighter than any other star, right? It's as bright as the sun, but it's just very small. So Jupiter, they tell us, is a gassy planet, and it's 4 times farther away from the sun than we are. So if our giant sun was right next to us, it would fill the whole sky, right?
Mhm.
We move it 93 million miles away, and it's the size of a coin held at arm's length, right? That's how we see the sun.
Mhm.
If we doubled that distance, it would be like the size of an eraser, like the end of an eraser. And if we doubled it again, so now it's 4 times farther, it would be pretty small. It would be very small.
Mhm.
So if you were on Jupiter, that sun is literally like a large star at best. And you have to believe that that distant sun is lighting up Jupiter. That light is reflecting off of the gassy surface, which isn't very reflective, all the way back to your eye, 400 million miles away, and we see it as bright as the sun.
Mhm.
You're seeing a light in the sky named after a god. That's all I can say.
So you see